Prince Harry is furious. Reports are swirling that King Charles has allegedly drawn a line in the sand, refusing to let Archie and Lilibet step foot inside Buckingham Palace. The tension between the Sussexes and the royal family has been simmering for years, but now it seems to have reached boiling point. Did King Charles just snub his own grandchildren, and how did Harry react behind closed doors? Buckle up, because today, we're diving into the royal drama that has everyone talking. All right, let's jump in. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates from the royal world. Today's story is explosive. We're talking about Prince Harry, King Charles, Meghan Markle, and of course, the two royal children caught in the middle, Archie and Lilibet. What really went down between Harry and Charles? Why would the king allegedly refuse his own grandkids at the gates of Buckingham Palace? And what does this mean for the already fractured royal family? Let's break it all down. To understand how we got here, we need to rewind a little. Since stepping down as senior royals in 2020, Harry and Meghan have been living in California, raising Archie and Lilibet away from the palace spotlight. The couple has been open about their struggles, from the Oprah Winfrey interview to Harry's memoir Spare. But despite their new life in the US, the ties to the monarchy remain complicated. King Charles may be Harry's father, but he's also the monarch, and that makes every decision he makes about the Sussexes political as much as personal. Over the years, we've seen moments of attempted reconciliation, but also deepening fractures. One of the biggest sticking points? Access. Where, when, and how Archie and Lilibet should be included in royal traditions or excluded. Now, on to the latest flashpoint. According to insiders, Harry reportedly asked to bring Archie and Lilibet to Buckingham Palace during a planned family visit. It would have been symbolic, a way of reconnecting, allowing his children to spend time in their grandfather's official royal residence. But King Charles, he allegedly said no. Why? That's the million-dollar question. Some suggest it's about security. After all, Buckingham Palace is one of the most high-profile residences in the world. Others argue it's about protocol, that non-working royals don't automatically get access to the palace in the same way. But to Harry, sources say, this wasn't about rules or logistics, it was about family. He reportedly felt heartbroken and angry that his father would deny his children the chance to create memories in the very place where Harry himself grew up. Imagine being told your kids aren't welcome in the home that defined your childhood. That's a gut punch. Word is, Harry didn't take it lightly. Behind closed doors, he allegedly let his frustrations spill out. Friends close to the prince describe him as explosive, venting to Meghan and his inner circle that his father was showing blatant favoritism. After all, William's children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, roam freely through Buckingham Palace during official and family occasions. Why would Archie and Lilibet be treated any differently? Some reports suggest Harry felt this was less about logistics and more about rejection, a deliberate move to remind him that he and his family are outsiders now. And if that's true, it cuts deep. Harry has spent years struggling with his role, his family, and his identity. He left the monarchy to protect his wife and kids from the same pressures he faced. But to see those very children turned away from the heart of the royal institution, for Harry, that's not just politics, that's personal. This situation isn't just about one denied visit, it's about the broader dynamics of power, image, and legacy. King Charles is balancing two identities: the head of a fractured family and the head of a 200-year-old institution. Every choice he makes sends a message, both to the world and to his own bloodline. By allegedly refusing Archie and Lilibet at Buckingham Palace, Charles could be signaling that the Sussexes are firmly outside the royal fold. To the establishment, it may reinforce the idea that stepping away has consequences. But to ordinary people, it risks looking cold, like a grandfather shutting the door on two innocent children. This duality is at the heart of the drama. Harry reportedly feels that Charles is prioritizing the crown over his own grandchildren. And for a man who's spent years warning about the dangers of history repeating itself, this refusal could feel like proof that nothing has changed. And of course, the public has weighed in. Royal fans are divided. Some argue that Harry and Meghan made their bed when they left, so they can't expect the perks of palace life now. Others are outraged, saying that no matter what the parents did, the children should never be punished. Social media has exploded with debates. On one hand, you've got hashtags like How Team Charles and How Hash Royal Protocol. On the other hand, Let Them In and Justice for Archie and Lilibet are trending. Once again, the monarchy has become a flashpoint for larger conversations about family, fairness, and forgiveness. And let's not forget the press. Tabloids have had a field day, painting Harry as either the wronged son or the spoiled prince, depending on the headline. Meanwhile, more sympathetic outlets have highlighted the emotional toll on Meghan, who reportedly worries about how her children will one day perceive these ongoing family rifts. And this is just the beginning. In part 2 of our deep dive, we'll explore what this refusal could mean for the future. Will Harry and Meghan retaliate with another explosive interview? Could King Charles be risking his own legacy by alienating his son and grandchildren? And most importantly, is there any way back from this latest blow to the House of Windsor? Stick around because the next chapter in this royal showdown is even more dramatic. Let's look at what this means for the future of the Sussexes, the monarchy, and whether reconciliation is even possible, or if this is the final nail in the coffin of royal unity. Harry and Meghan are not known for keeping quiet when they feel wronged. From their Oprah interview to the Netflix docuseries, they've made it clear they'll tell their side of the story no matter the backlash. So what happens next? Insiders suggest Meghan is urging Harry to push back, maybe through a new sit-down interview or another memoir-style reveal. If they choose that path, we could see fresh accusations leveled at the palace. Claims of double standards, unfair treatment, and even generational neglect. But there's also a possibility they take a different approach. Meghan, some say, is exhausted by the constant headlines and may prefer to focus on her business ventures and Hollywood projects. Harry, however, still carries a deep emotional tie to his family. If he feels his children are being excluded, it could push him to speak louder and harder than ever before. And let's not forget, every time Harry and Meghan go public, the royal family is forced into damage control. Could Charles's refusal end up backfiring, giving the Sussexes yet another reason to dominate global headlines? Now let's flip the perspective. King Charles is no stranger to criticism. From his messy divorce with Diana to decades of being painted as the unpopular prince, he spent much of his life battling public perception. As king, his number one priority is protecting the crown's image and ensuring stability for the monarchy. But here's the problem. Snubbing Archie and Lilibet may create the opposite effect. Instead of looking strong, it risks making Charles look cold, calculated, and unfeeling. To many, he's not just a monarch, he's a grandfather, and when the story is framed that way, the optics get ugly fast. Remember, Charles has long positioned himself as a modern king, someone willing to slim down the monarchy, engage with younger generations, and soften the rigid traditions of the past. But excluding his own grandchildren, that doesn't exactly scream modernization. If anything, it paints him as clinging to outdated rules at the expense of family. And in today's media landscape, perception is everything. One wrong move, one cold headline, and decades of careful image building can unravel overnight. We can't talk about this without bringing Prince William into the picture. William is next in line to the throne, and his children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, are the future faces of the monarchy. They are consistently included in royal events, palace life, and public celebrations. Harry reportedly sees this stark contrast as proof of double standards. To him, Archie and Lilibet aren't just being excluded from a building, they're being symbolically cut out of the royal family's future. Now, here's where it gets even trickier. William and Harry's relationship has been rocky for years, and this incident only widens the divide. If William doesn't step in to support his brother, or at least advocate for his niece and nephew, it may confirm Harry's worst fears that the institution comes first, and personal ties come last. And for the public, the comparison is unavoidable. One set of grandchildren celebrated, another sidelined. That image alone could haunt the monarchy for years. We also have to think about the global impact. The royal family isn't just a British institution, they're an international brand. Harry and Meghan's children are half American, and their treatment resonates deeply with audiences across the world, especially in the United States. If the king is seen as shutting them out, it fuels a narrative that the monarchy is outdated, elitist, and unwilling to embrace diversity. In an era where public approval is everything, that's a dangerous perception to fuel. Already, American media outlets have latched onto the story with headlines blasting Charles as heartless or out of touch. And with Harry and Meghan firmly rooted in California, this narrative isn't going away anytime soon. If Charles hoped to quietly set boundaries, it may have the opposite effect, sparking international criticism that undermines his reign. Stepping away from the politics for a moment, let's remember the emotional side. For Harry, this isn't just about protocol, it's about his childhood. Buckingham Palace represents his upbringing, his late mother Diana, and the royal world he once called home. To hear that his children aren't welcome there must feel like rejection not only of them, but of him as a father. Harry has spoken openly about wanting to give Archie and Lilibet a sense of their heritage without exposing them to the same trauma he endured. This refusal, however, may make that impossible. Friends say Harry is struggling with feelings of isolation, torn between the life he's built in America and the family ties that still bind him to the UK. Every time the palace draws a line, it deepens his sense of being shut out. And as any parent knows, when your kids are involved, those emotions intensify tenfold. Is reconciliation even possible at this point? Some royal watchers say yes, but only if both sides are willing to compromise. That could mean Charles finding a private way to include Archie and Lilibet without making it a public spectacle. Or Harry accepting that his children won't have the same palace privileges as William's, but still deserve acknowledgement as family. But the clock is ticking. Every year that passes, Archie and Lilibet grow older, and the gulf between them and their royal cousins widens. If the family doesn't act soon, those bonds may be impossible to repair. And when it comes to public perception, the longer the feud drags on, the more damage is done. This brings us to the heart of the issue: legacy. King Charles waited his entire life for the throne, but his reign will always be measured against history. Will he be remembered as the monarch who modernized the crown, or as the king who failed to keep his family together? For Harry, the question is even more personal. Will his children grow up feeling connected to their royal roots, or will they only know the palace as the place they were turned away from? These aren't just questions of protocol, they're questions that will shape the Windsor family narrative for generations to come. So, what do you think? Was King Charles justified in allegedly refusing Archie and Lilibet at Buckingham Palace? Or has he made a catastrophic mistake that could cost him both his family and his public support? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a single update from the world of royalty. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay tuned for more royal revelations.